Hey G-Fans, GoGFan93 here, and today I'm actually going to be making a video that I had an idea to talk about the games that I'm actually not going to be covering or doing a Let's Play of, either due to the fact that the games are just too old or that I just don't have an interest in them. But this is hopefully going into the next year to sort of answer some questions that you guys might have of certain games that I might do Let's Plays of or cover them or whatnot. So yeah, I just wanted to get into that. So without further ado, let's get down this list because it's actually quite a long list that I went through of a bunch of kaiju games, most of them Godzilla related, but obviously some of them are other non-Godzilla related games. But yeah, so the first one that I am not going to be playing is called Godzilla, basically. This is for the Commodore PET. This game is just super old. Like it's so old, so past the time that I just don't even think I would have any fun with it. So it's just so old. So anything on the Commodore is just not for me. The next game that I'm not going to be playing is Godzilla vs. 3 Giant Monsters. This game was originally released on the Microsoft MSX, it looks like. This game is a little bit more well known. I'm pretty sure a lot of people consider this to be the first real official Godzilla game. But again, I'm not going to be playing it because I've seen videos of this, and I think Monster Island Buddies also made a pretty good review on this video. So if you guys want to know more about this game, I would look at his channel. For me though, I am definitely going to be passing on this one. Alright, next game is going to be CinemaScope Adventure Godzilla. This is like... It looks to be a game that was for the PC 8801 and FM7. I have absolutely no idea what those are, but it's literally like, it looks like it's a text-based game. And just by looking at the screenshots and like the little amount of videos that I could find on the internet, it definitely is something that I am not interested in, nor do I even want to waste time on it at all. Again, I don't want to say really the games that I'm not going to be playing. I'm not really saying that these are bad games. I'm just saying it's games that I just don't have an interest in and really don't feel like taking the time to play them or to do anything with them. So that's what this is about. Next we have Multiplayer Adventure New Godzilla. Looks like a game that again was for the PC 8801, released in 1985. Again, looks to be a similar game, like a text-based deal. The only thing that does look cool about it though is it looks like to be an actual game based on 84, which is very surprising. Like it's an actual game that is about the 84 story, which is cool in a way. But again, I look at it and I'm just like, you know, I just can't see myself playing this. I just can't. So again, if you guys want more info, watch other videos, all that good stuff. But this piece of 84 merchandise or piece of 84 memorabilia, I actually will be passing up on. Next, we got Fierce Dragon Godzilla Metropolis Destruction. I think this was another game that I've actually seen prior, but it's another one of those really old games. Looks like it was made for FM7 and X1 personal computers, again released in 1985. It just looks like a game that is just, it looks like a strategy type of game. It looks like the genre is action simulators from what I'm getting off of the Wikizilla from it. But I'm, again, looking at screenshots and certain, videos, I'm like, absolutely not. Alright, next is Godzilla-kun. Now this is actually based on the other, that Game Boy game with Godzilla as well. That game I actually do plan on doing some type of video for, but the actual, I think this was pretty much the original version of it before it went onto the Game Boy. This was like the original version of it, but again, I hate this game on Game Boy, so no, it's not gonna matter, being played on, what is this, the looks like the MSX as well. So again, played it on Game Boy, I got my fill, don't need it, gonna pass on this one. Next we have Monsters Fair, which is technically a Mothra game, I'm pretty sure, but I think the reason why it's on this list is also because Godzilla does make an appearance. It looks like Mechagodzilla, Gigan, Ibra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah are also a part of it as well. But again, just looking at screenshots and videos, it is something that I definitely have no interest in, and it wouldn't make for any good content, so we'll pass on this one too. The Movie Monster Game. This is from 1986, a computer game developed by Epix for the Apple II and Commodore 64, so we have another Commodore game. Funny enough, I actually recognize the cover art, which is pretty funny, but again, just not for me. Strategy game, especially on the Commodore, no, not going to be doing that. Absolutely not. This one's kind of a weird one. Battle Soccer Champion of the Field. This is more of like Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Gundam crossover thing with Godzilla as well. I've actually seen videos of this game, I think on Monster Island Buddies as well. I think he's covered this game too. But again, it's just something that doesn't pique my interest, nor is it something that I feel would make good content. So it's a game that I'm also going to be passing on. All right, this one's very simple. It's called Godzilla, a System Soft, for System Soft or something like that. Released in 1993. Again, a simulation strategy game. Wow, what a shock. A Godzilla game that's a strategy game. Yeah, no, just not going to do it. Just absolutely not. It looks cool from some of the gameplay that I've seen in terms of like the graphics and all that, but really I'm absolutely just not going to touch it. Next is Godzilla Heart Pounding Monster Island. This actually was a game that I did discover from Monster Island Buddies. A lot of these games Monster Island Buddies has done reviews of. And I was considering maybe playing this game, but I decided that I actually wasn't going to. The fact that it is all in Japanese, and it's just again looking at the review that Monster Island Buddies made and just seeing what it is, and also the fact that it's like this educational game. It doesn't pique my interest, and if it doesn't pique my interest, it's not going to be for entertaining content. So I will pass. Godzilla Archipelago Shock. This is a Sega Saturn game released in 1995. Again, frickin' simulator battle strategy, whatever you want to call it. Graphics look great. I actually have known about this game for a very long time. I actually was originally, I think, going to do a Let's Play of this back in the day, but I'm actually happy I didn't, because again, it just doesn't look like something that I would have fun with. A lot of these games are going to have the same reason why, so I don't know if I have to keep on explaining it, but again, it just doesn't pique it, so nope. This is kind of a random one, but I found it while I was searching for Godzilla games to play, maybe. Jumbo Godzilla. This is like some type of, I don't know. It's a side-scroller game, but I think it's more of like an arcade game. But I don't know if there are ways to play it on like an emulator or something. But regardless, if any of you had a question about this one, again, this will be a pass. Godzilla Movie Studio Tour. This is another game that I think a lot of people actually do know of. Again, MIB made a video on this. It sort of informed me on whether I would want to play this game or not, and I don't. It's a very cool looking kind of game, but again, after watching MIB's review of it, I don't feel like there's any more that I can contribute to it, nor does it look like a game that really piques my interest, that looks fun for me to play, so I will pass. G-Patrol VR Combat Simulator. This is actually based on the 1998 Godzilla movie, which is very odd. There's barely any information on this game on like Wikizilla and all that. But again, it's another freaking simulation game, just not going to do it. And it looks like it was released actually in 1997 on Godzilla.com, so I'm pretty sure this game actually is unplayable as far as I'm concerned. Another 1998 game, Godzilla The Aftermath, is another game that I am pretty sure is not available anymore, and there's barely a lot of information about it at all. Looks like it was a game that was released on the website that was to promote the movie at the time. There's like literally 2 screenshots on Wikizilla, and there's not much else that I can gather from it, but I'm pretty sure that it wasn't that great. I feel like this one's a little more infamous. Godzilla Online, another multiplayer game that was based on the 1998 game. Again, pretty sure this game is not available at all. Really don't know how you'd be able to play it. And to be honest, I can't even, like, even when I was growing up, when the marketing was going crazy, I don't even remember this game being a thing. Apparently it was this big multiplayer game that had all these different modes and things, but still not sure if it's around anymore. And honestly, even if it was, no. Okay, everyone knows this game, Godzilla Trading Battle. Really, I think the only Godzilla game that was on the PlayStation 1, if I recall correctly. But again, it is like the genres that I really don't play. Strategy, turn-based RPG. Absolutely not. Just not gonna do it. No way. And I actually did do a video on this back in the day. I did, it was a Goji Fan Tries video, and clearly I did not know what I was doing. The game looks cool because there's all these different monsters in here, but just again, a game that I don't see myself having any fun in, and watching my older video on it really was not good, so going to pass. Next is Godzilla Monster Mayhem. This is the 3D game. Apparently there's a 3D and 2D game of this, but this was actually a mobile game that was put out on the, it might have been the Apple Store. I don't even know if it was for any other thing. It looks like it was only for iOS, which really means I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm sure I would be able to find an emulator that'd be able to play this, but again, I've seen videos of this game and it just does not look good. And again, it's just something I'm not interested in. So we'll be passing on that. Then we have Godzilla Monster Mayhem, the 2D version. Again, looks like it was released on iOS only. Actually, I am incorrect. It actually looks like it's a Java game. Java. It looks like it was a Java game. So again, not looking like a game that I would particularly want to play. It's very basic looking, so I will be passing on this as well. And then we have Godzilla the Series, which I also look at Godzilla the Series Monster Wars. I made a previous video again on this back in the day, back on my Goji Fan Tries days, whatever. And the games were just awful. Horrible games. Again, MIB made a video on this, so you guys can watch those videos as well. But I am definitely going to be skipping these because I hated the game back then, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to like it now. Next is Godzilla Smash 3, the Godzilla 2014 tie-in game. Again, similar to Godzilla the Series, didn't like it when it first came out, definitely not going to like it now. Also the fact that it's a mobile game that I'm pretty sure has been taken off the market, so I know there's probably ways to emulate it now, but again, I just don't see a reason to play it because I'm not going to have fun with it. Unfortunately, Godzilla Strike Zone, I tried to find ways to play it, but it actually, since the game is taken offline, it was a game that I actually did enjoy, and to be honest, it would be fun to replay it, but I did make a video of it back in the day when it first released, so if you want, my experience on it, I do have that game out there. But as far as trying to play it now, yeah, that's just it. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. Okay, now we have Godzilla Crisis Defense. This was another 2014 tie-in game. Again, browser type game, not good at all. I actually watched my older video on it back in the day, and it was just, you just click, and that's really it. It doesn't have any really features to it that makes it fun, or features that makes it worth returning to or revisiting, so I will be passing on that. Okay, this is another mobile one, Godzilla Kaiju Collection, which was a very popular game. I do remember this game coming out at the time. I believe this game was released in 2015, ran all the way till 2016, so it actually looks like it only lasted a year. But I do remember this game being everywhere. A lot of people talked about it, and I think I played it a few times on my own time. But again, just from looking again at the screenshots and what the game is, it's just something that I am just not interested in, don't want to play. It's another one of those, you tap the screen, it's a strategy type. It's actually very similar to Battle Line, but yeah, I'm good to skip on this one. Next we have Run Godzilla. This is the next game on my list. This was a recent game that actually I think is still available on Android and iOS, and this was one of the worst Godzilla games that has ever been released. I mean, like, it is an official Godzilla game from Toho, and it was like one of the worst games. I did play it when it first released, and it was just, I was like beyond, you gotta be kidding me, like, they released this? Good lord. So, not gonna play it. If you want to get more information on it, Wikizilla's here, and also MIB made a video on it too, so definitely running away from this game. Godzilla Destruction was another game that was released. There was like 3 games that was released at once. It was Godzilla Run, or Run Godzilla, Godzilla Destruction, and then Battle Line. This was the other one to it. This one wasn't so bad, but at the same time, it also was very repetitive, and it was one of those gacha games that the game gets progressively harder and forces you to buy microtransactions just to keep on playing. It just didn't keep my interest for a long time, and the game is actually not, it got discontinued too. So it's just totally not worth revisiting at all. Okay, this next game might piss a lot of people off, but I gotta be honest here. Godzilla Daikaiju Battle Royale. Now, this fan game I know is loved by so many people, and I played, I think, 4 videos of it throughout the times in my legacy time with Goji Fan, and it was fun, but I gotta be honest, guys, I don't find it fun anymore. And the only reason why, and the only reason I didn't make a lot of videos of it back in the day, was because the game does feel very repetitive. All of the characters feel the same to play. Like literally you have the keyboard and you're doing the same controls, you have your punching, you have your kicking, and then the beam attacks. It is the same thing no matter what character you play as. Yes, it's great to have this giant cast of characters and all these different incarnations of the character and all of that stuff, but it's just not fun for me, and I really don't want to play it anymore, and I don't really want to make a video on it because I don't want to shit on it, basically, because I know it's a fan game and I know that the game's popular, but again, I just don't find myself wanting to play it, so I'm not going to force myself to. Next we have City Shrouded in Shadow. This game was a PlayStation 4 game that I actually did play back in the day, but for some reason I have no videos on it. I'm sure I did a live stream of it, but that was lost to time. So, this game was actually really cool, and I really wish there was a way I could play it again, because I totally would, but it's only on the PS4. There was never a PC release, and I don't have a PS4, and there's really no way to emulate it, so I don't think there's a way for me to play it at the moment. If this game ever does get a re-release, or somehow I can emulate it or whatever, I will, but as for right now, it's not on the docket. Next we got Rampage Through Time. I do plan on at least revisiting the older Rampage games, but Through Time I am not going to, because I remember this game. If you guys watch my older video on it, I talked about, or I was having a lot of fun with it at first, but then it came to the mini games, and for those of you who know the game, you know what I'm about to say, is that when you get to the mini games, if you fail, the game gives you a game over and you have to start from the very beginning. So you have to win the mini games, and that was the sole reason I stopped playing. I literally rage quit the game because I was like, nope, not going to do that. So again, I'm not going to put myself through it, so that's why this game's on the list. The other Rampage games, yes, I do plan on revisiting. This one's not a surprise, Colossal Kaiju Combat. This game has been stuck in alpha since 2014 or something like that, whenever it was released on Steam, and I'm still very annoyed that I paid $5 for a broken alpha. But the game is literally dead. It's been dead for years, and everyone gave up on it, including Simon Strage, and it was just a horrible thing. Very tragic project, and I just don't really want to touch it, and we're just going to move on. Next is Primal Rage. Not a bad game. I actually did a long play of it back in the day, and because I did a long play of it, I feel like it's pretty good. I don't feel a reason to come back to it, especially because I'm not a huge fan of the franchise or series, or if there's more games of it. It was just kind of what it is, and again, I just didn't feel like I need to revisit it. Next, we have Godzilla Defense Force. This was one of the, modern mobile games as well. This was the game that I had a big problem with, because all you literally do is just tap the screen and just and to win. Again, the graphics are cool because you get all these different characters, but again, it's just one of those mobile games that I just look at it and I go, no, it's a time sink. It's trying to get money from you, and it's just not for me. Okay, this next one really will probably tick a lot of people off, but Godzilla Battle Line. Yes, I did make 6 videos of my Let's Play of it, and I was planning on doing more, but I gotta be honest, guys, I got bored so fast. It literally got to the point where it was just like the same thing, and I kept on getting crushed by other players because I kept on trying to play ranked matches, and these other players, they've been playing for years, and I just can't get an upper hand on it unless I start paying money towards the game, and I just don't want to. It's great that the game is popular and that it's currently still getting updates. I guess Godzilla -1 is in it now, or at least at the time of this recording, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, that's great. For the people who love Godzilla Battle Line, that's awesome, but I just cannot get into it. So unfortunately, won't really do any more videos on it. Okay, next is actually a controversial one. This is another fan game, actually, Godzilla Omniverse. I'm actually not playing this game out of principle, because this game actually is a fan game that is actually making money off of the brand, and so they literally made a fighting game that looks cool, but they actually have microtransactions in the game that you have to pay to get more characters. The game is, from what I've heard, is needlessly hard, so they purposely make it that way, and then they make you buy the characters, which I have no idea how this game is able to be on Google Play or the iOS store, because literally it's not a official game. It's a fan game, but they're making money off of it by microtransactions and everything. I don't know how Toho has not taken this game down, but I am not going to be playing it out of principle. No. The next thing I'm not going to cover is just any pachinko game, because obviously there's no way to play those, and I just don't feel like covering those because that seems to be a huge rage right now, all the rage in Japan, which is fine, but it's just not something for me. It's a lot of gambling machines and whatnot, so that should be self-explanatory. Just not going to really mess around with those. Okay, next we actually have some non-Godzilla games, but I just thought that I'd throw these in here just for some of the people that might be interested or might have had a question about this. Gamera: The Time Adventure. There's actually some Gamera games, believe it or not. This one is another old school. It's like another simulator type of thing. It was released in 1995. There's barely any information on it, but again, just like those old Godzilla games, not really going to do it with this one either. Now, there was a game that was based on the first Heisei Gamera movie, Guardian of the Universe. There's not a lot of information I can gather from this, but it's just another old school game that I just am not wanting to play. It looks like it was on the Game Boy, and I mean, again, it looks fine. But funny enough, it actually reminds me of the Godzilla game that was on Game Boy, the Godzilla King of the Monsters game that I did a review of again and revisited and really didn't like. So again, not really going to touch this one. Nope. I shouldn't even have to really talk about this, but Gamera Gyao's Destruction Strategy looks like a game that was released, I'm trying to find the date here, 1995, looks like it was released on the Nintendo Super Famicom, and it's a strategy game, so you guys know what that means. Nope. Looks nice, the game does look nice, but no. Okay, so this was a game, Gamera Battle. Looks like a game that was released on social networks, Gree and Mobage or something like that, on January 31st and October 18th of 2012. And it looks like a game that was sort of like like an online service thing, but it looks like it was taken offline, but it says it's a beat 'em up game, which might have been fun, but again, it looks like a game that I would have no access to. So I don't know, maybe if someone can tell me how I can play this, maybe, but as far as I'm concerned right now, I'll pass. Next is really any King Kong game, except for the Peter Jackson King Kong. I will be revisiting that game because that is a masterclass in that type of genre. That game is phenomenal. That game is never going to get old, and I can't wait to get back to that. But as far as any other King Kong games, I know there are some other ones. I saw MIB's video on those other Kong games, and they just don't look good to me, so I'm just going to pass on those. Really not going to waste my time. Next is the Pacific Rim Jaeger Simulator. This game was actually another mobile, or not a mobile, it was a browser game where it was actually pretty fun. You got to customize a Jaeger and you got to fight a bunch of, the kaiju in the Pacific Rim game. It was another movie tie-in game to promote the movie. And I did a full Let's Play of it actually while it was still live. Unfortunately, the game is no longer available and I really don't know how you'd be able to emulate it or whatever because it was a browser game only. So if maybe there is a way to play it still, or if someone knows of ways to play it, let me know. But as far as I'm concerned, I'll be passing on that. Another one that I'm actually kind of sad of is the Pacific Rim, the video game. That game was actually really fun. It was a really great fighting game, but it was only on the 360 as an arcade title, and obviously I don't have a 360. I don't even have that account. I don't think that was associated with it, and I don't know if there are ways to emulate it. So again, unfortunately, I would love to revisit it, but as far as I'm concerned with the resources I have now, there's no way to play it. So unfortunately, I'll have to pass. Next is the game Eat Them. That was a PS3 game, like similar arcade title that released on that system back in the day. I did do a Let's Play of it in 2015. It was kind of fun, but also very frustrating if I can remember at the very end. I almost rage quit on the game, I'm pretty sure. But similar, I don't know if there are ways to emulate it or whatever, but even if there were, I really don't think I want to go back to that game because it was just sort of a one-off thing, just kind of, alright, so again, pass on that. The other two games are the Override games. Now, I actually was going to be playing this game again, but I guess the first Override game was taken off of Steam, don't know why, and Override 2 is actually not as good as the first one because they changed a lot of the mechanics, and I guess it went to more of a multiplayer style thing, even though they had the Ultraman DLC, which might sound cool, but it doesn't look like it's something for me. But I tried playing the demo of it and it just wasn't good, and I actually remember playing the original back in the day when it was on Steam, and I sort of had fun with it, but at the end of the day I didn't like the combat system, how every limb was a different trigger on the controller or whatever, so it just wasn't fully for me. So again, the Override games I will pass on, also because those games are mainly more of like mech type games instead of kaiju games, and I'm more with the kaiju stuff, less with the mech stuff, so that is what I will be also passing. And that actually concludes my list of the games that I will not be covering or playing or doing anything with on this channel going forward for the next year, for however long. Just so that you guys know the type of games that I want to get playing. I do have a huge list of games though that I will be covering, that I will be revisiting, all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to make this video. I know this is kind of a long-winded video, but I just wanted to make it because just wanted to sort of set the record straight on certain games and that you guys aren't waiting for. So if you guys have any other comments, let me know below. Any other games that you might be, hey, are you playing this? Are you going to try this? I will answer in the comments if I've missed a game on this list. So comment below, let me know. That's pretty much it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay big, G fans.